All right, Mike. So, what are your thoughts on space travel if you'll ever do that in the future? Maybe it's accessible in the future. What are your plans?
Um, I mean, to me, space travel is going to be Elon Musk making reusable rockets so that we can take a rocket ship across the world in like 10, 15 minutes as opposed to having to book like a long ass flight. So that sounds pretty dope if it's affordable and he puts the whole airline industry out of business. I'm all for it.
So,
Now,
you just want to
as for
travel to other parts of the world.
yeah, yeah. If we're talking about like extraterrestrial space travel, not interested at all. Like it sounds space is boring. Like it's just rocks,
Well,
bro.
that's true, yeah. But like in the future when there's like entertainment at like a moment's notice and then you could also just travel too, but also like yeah, I mean, it's going to be boring as fuck. No one's going to want
I
to
have
actually
no idea
travel.
why anyone would want to travel to even if you colonized Mars, it's never going to be better than anywhere on Earth, like experience wise. Like you're going there
Yeah.
just for the mystique of saying, I went to Mars. So like what'd you do there? Nothing that fun. Nothing better than I could have done on Earth for way
Well, that's
cheaper.
true. Yeah. But it's yeah, that exploration aspect is like pretty cool. But also like yeah, it's kind of pointless for the average Joe just to like volunteer themselves. But
Yeah.
I mean, if there was like a government program that was like, "All right, you can go to Mars for free, but you just need to colonize it." And like this is in the future where like we have VR headsets where we can just entertain ourselves completely and immerse ourselves in another world. Because at that point, when we probably do go to Mars, we're going to be using these like headsets that like also like entertain us. There's going to be a lot of other things that are available to us, and it's not just going to be as boring, but also just the fact that like at that point, I would compare that to going to like how the United States is paying its citizens to go move to Alaska, and you can
See,
like,
that's what I was thinking. I'm not really interested in paying uh, the government
but
tax money
like
so that we can send our broke, unemployed people to Mars.
I would go to Alaska low key though. Like I mean, just for the exploration aspect, but like yeah, I mean, you have to be a citizen there too, and like keep living there consistently to get more to actually get like paid. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean
I
that's
don't know.
like
I mean, I've never been to Alaska. I probably won't ever go there. I hear it's a beautiful
really.
state, very good for wildlife if you're into it, like outdoor activities.
I
It's
heard it
just,
was like the last frontier.
I guess so,
Like
yeah, pretty
you
much.
know how like yeah, we were like trying to like get to the west coast and now that's the last place that still has wildlife, still has there's a rainforest in Alaska too.
Really,
There's like an actual what?
there's a rainforest.
There's a rainforest in Alaska. Like there's actually it's like it's the furthest north rainforest has ever been recorded and it's on the panhandle of Alaska. So it's not like it's like the southernmost part of Alaska basically.
Okay,
But
that's
it's
interesting.
yeah, it's an actual rainforest because there's just so much
Usually when
water
I
that
think, 'cause usually when I think of rainforest, I just think of like you gotta be close to the equator.
yeah, that's what a lot of people, well, a lot of main rainforests actually are based in the equator, but it's like that's why this one is so weird. I think it's because there's like a giant like mountain that like juts out and the coastline is where a lot of water just decides to go, so it builds up there and so it's not really a big rainforest. It's just along the coast of the panhandle of Alaska, but I mean, I wouldn't mind living there. I mean, I was looking into it and I was like, some of the temperatures could be similar to like now, especially with like, the temperature around the world increasing. So it's not as like cold anymore. Um, I mean, with climate change and everything, but yeah.
Uh-huh.
So Because now it's like, yeah, I mean, like it snowed like 3 times where we are. I mean, not where you are now, but like
Oh
still, it's
yeah,
like,
I was there for the snow in January. I wasn't about it.
yeah, but it was like we haven't gotten that much snow, so it's just like so interesting. But also like, yeah, I mean, now it's like, Alaska's looking like a better place to live if climate change keeps going like this, or
Mm.
like at least somewhere up north maybe. But you know, what when you're done traveling the world, like how many? Well, are you traveling any other countries right now, or where else are you going right now?
So I plan on being back in the United States uh, in around June. Yeah, I gotta cut the traveling short. So I'm gonna be in the US from June, maybe for like I don't know, a year maybe. And after that, I kind of want to travel more. I'll probably go to I might just go back to South America. I
Yeah,
don't know. I want to do Europe, but I kind of want to travel to Europe more in the spring and not really.
during
I
the
ain't
summer.
about the cold. Yeah, I can maybe do like early fall. I'm
Yeah.
not about checking out freaking. It, it gets cold up there.
Well, then you just go during the summer.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I gotta. Yeah, I'm gonna be in the U.S. from like June for probably a year.
Okay. But like, I feel like, yeah, I mean, is it just because your experience so far in South America has been really good, and that's why you want to go there like a second time?
Uh, and more so because of like thinking about weather. I think.
Thinking about weather. Well, is
Yeah,
the
'cause
the weather in other?
it depends on when I want to travel again. You know, because
Yeah.
I don't know when. If I end up leaving in the winter again, then I would probably go to some.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
probably
Because
do
if you're
because
going
I
in
met.
the winter, then yeah. But it's like, I mean, there's just if you visit like one country in Europe, you could visit like every country
Yeah, yeah. Wait,
at
so
that
what was your
point.
question? After I'm done traveling, then what?
I think it was just, yeah. Are you going to any other like countries after this? I think that's what I was
Well,
going. I think that was the question.
I really want to see Eastern Europe, I think.
Yeah.
I really want to change my career and do something that I could do remotely. Because if you could even
Okay.
make like, if I was even making like 60K remotely, you could probably do even less. Honestly, probably do like 30K remotely.
Yeah.
You could you could pretty much live abroad indefinitely, making like that much money. If you
I mean,
were to make
you'd
like,
have to. That goes all to your savings. Just or yeah, you're not gonna like nothing for your retirement.
well, dude, it's really cheap. Like living
Just
in these countries, like
oh
rent
yeah,
here in Buenos Aires, like rent is like $300 a month.
that is crazy. Wow, that's insane. And then what about that's including Wi-Fi and all the other
As
utilities?
far as rent, I don't know all the prices. It's much cheaper.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
the U.S. is really freaking expensive. Like that's why
Right.
I'm
Right.
mainly doing like Brazil was a little bit expensive. Brazil kind of felt like U.S. prices. At least the parts of Brazil I was visiting. But like Buenos Aires, most of Colombia, or like Eastern Europe, like you could. There's so many great, really developed cities that are just so much freaking cheaper in the U.S. that you could basically take whatever your income is and multiply it by five, and that's what your like purchasing power is.
So then, yeah, you're just gonna be like traveling like across the entire world at this point, then, right? Like the stuff
I
you're gonna
if
you're
I mean if I could find a way to like sustainably
yeah,
like
like if
make a
you
decent amount of
changed
money,
your job to remote.
yeah, at that point like I would probably just why stay in the U.S. Because like it, you could just get so much more for so much less.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's just I mean if it's remote, then it's like, yeah, then you can work in the other country too. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
like you don't
not.
even. Yeah, I mean the hours are going to be a little whack, but I mean that just depends. Like,
It depends on where you are and what you do.
yeah, I mean because you're in South America, so you're in the exact same time zone as us right now, right? Or are you in
Well, it's a
another?
little bit off. It depends on what part of South America. If in Colombia, where I was, it was the same time zone as the East Coast.
Okay,
In Brazil and Argentina, where I was, I'm 2 hours ahead.
okay, so it's 7 o'clock for you right now.
6:16.
Oh, you're only 1 hour ahead.
Oh, really? Are
Yeah,
you sure your
so you're
clock's
probably
not
like the time zone
on,
right
bro?
next to it. What?
Hold up. What? I thought it was 2 hours ahead.
Because actually, I
Huh.
mean,
Oh, interesting. I see.
because I so the West Coast is they're behind, right? So we experience the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sunrise and the
West Coast.
sunset
West
before
Coast.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's pretty cool. But
Yeah.
what about other states? You want to travel to other states?
Uh, so far I've been to New York, Philadelphia. I've visited New
Or
Jersey, but New
Pennsylvania?
Jersey, I feel like the whole tri-state area is all the same.
Yeah, it
Um,
does look, yeah, kind of. But I know there are certain areas that do look different.
yeah, some people think Philadelphia is its own thing. Um, I've been to Miami a million times. I love Miami, but it's just too expensive for my
Right.
career right now. Um, I mean, you could do it. It's just you're gonna be kind of a grokey.
What
Um,
about the West Coast?
the only time I've been anywhere near the West Coast was for a weekend on New Year's in Las Vegas.
All
Um,
right, that's still pretty cool though. But you wouldn't want to like go there, especially with you now that you want to like travel
I
other
actually would.
countries.
I think I
Yeah.
would. Because California is by far the best state in the country for my profession, especially Northern California. Um, and even Nevada is pretty good. So I actually could live in Las Vegas. I've thought about it. It just wouldn't, it wouldn't be the best career move because the hospitals there are pretty uh, subpar.
And you want to be like a travel nurse, right?
Kind of. I'm probably going to
Yeah.
do travel nursing for a bit. I think I'm going to take a travel contract starting in June in New York.
And so you're gonna try and do that for like a year, you said, until and then you accumulate more money, and then you'll be able
Yeah,
to, yeah, travel more at least.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, that sounds like a good plan. I wish I could travel more. It's just like, I feel like
It's
I'm
not so
just
much
like,
money. It's just I have to be in the U.S. for in June. That's not what stuff I gotta do there. But
gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, like, I don't know. It'd be cool. I want to like visit places, but I know like, in a couple of years, what do you think about like when they create a whole world using VR such as Google Maps, Google Earth Maps, cuz they already have like a lot of like stuff you can like,
it's
see the
actually
world and then
I actually
yeah,
I was using Google Maps a little bit, like well Google Earth, I guess you should call it.
Google
Like, 'cause
Earth, yeah.
I was trying to scope out the neighborhoods a little bit to try to figure out where I want to stay. So
Yeah.
it was kind of cool, but it didn't really give me an accurate picture. Because when I was looking at Google Earth for where I'm staying at now, it looked really ghetto. I was like, do I really want to stay here? Because it looked really nice with the pictures, but just outside, I just saw
Yeah.
like graffiti. It just looks kind of like ghetto. There is a lot of graffiti, but it's fine. It actually feels like
So
pretty safe.
it was like a lot. Okay, yeah. But it was like a lot
Yeah.
different in person than on Google Earth.
Yeah, yeah, just experiencing it is different. It feels like I like the area I'm in. It's pretty good.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of like differences and like stuff like that because it's not all the photos are updated, but it's like when there's an actual like AI advanced VR
Yeah,
thing that can like make us see or think that we're there, it'll be like a whole different experience. But then it's like, yeah, I mean, when that comes out, nobody's gonna want to travel anymore. They're just going to
that's
want
not
to put on. Well,
that's
I
not true.
mean, at that,
You know,
I'm talking
there
about when they make it so advanced.
because there's people travel for different things, right? So some people, a lot of people,
Yeah,
I guess the American way of traveling, let's call it that, is you work your job, you do good, you get a house with a mortgage, and you get a promotion, and then you turn 65, and your bones hurt, and you retire, and you collect your Social Security and your 401k. And then you realize you have more money you know what to do with, and you're gonna die in a few years, and you start just like blowing money or traveling like to Europe, and you do all like the touristy stuff, and you do all the touristy stuff the easy way because you're just kind of sightseeing because everything hurts now. That's one way of traveling. And with that kind of traveling, yes, you can just use the VR headset and try to trick yourself into actually seeing whatever it is you want to see. I hate sightseeing. I hate it. Not interested at all. I tried it one time in uh in Colombia, and I just felt so bored. Like I went to the top of it's called Guatape. It's like a mountain. Um and it's supposed to
is
be
that
like
the
one of the
one?
most beautiful views in South America.
Oh wow,
But
okay.
I got up there and I was like, okay, this is it. Now what?
Well,
You know?
yeah, because I guess there was just so much hype built around it, and then it's like, yeah, I mean, you
Uh,
gotta find like, you sightseeing could be many different things. It's just like places that people talk about more, and then,
I just don't care much for sightseeing. It's all, to be
but
honest.
then why do you travel to begin with?
People, cultural differences.
All
See
right,
like
yeah, that's a
how
good.
people
But you're still
make.
sightseeing in that regard too.
You
I
can't
mean,
do that
different
through
def.
their headset. You could try to do that
Uh,
through like social media, I suppose, but not
that's
really.
true. That's true. Yeah, yeah. Unless there's so many people wearing the VR headsets that everybody there already has. But that's where yeah, it's like so different. Yeah, you got a point. Those cultural differences will be just people wanting to travel, and then it's not anybody who actually lives there.
Yeah,
So it's not, yeah, you're not really getting a real slice of life there. You're just getting a what it like a copy of it, what they're trying to like
gotcha.
see.
Yeah. Basically,
Yeah,
well, when I went on that tour on the mountain thing, I like booked through some kind of tour guide or whatever, and we like went on like some kind of tour bus, and they tried to teach us history and all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm sitting here with all these old retired people, super out of place. Like, what am I doing here? And I thought, like, the other way I could have done this could have been the way I saw the locals doing it, which is rent a motorcycle, do like the 2 hour or whatever long drive it is through the countryside. And the motorcycle rental would have been like $20 for a whole day,
wow,
which would have been
damn, all
actually
right.
cheaper, which was actually cheaper than the cost of the tour. And yeah, just
But
motorcycle out there, be there on your own time, in your own way.
well, but
Then you
then
could do,
you're just lacking that cultural aspect you were mentioning earlier. Because at that point, then you're just sightseeing compared to getting the tour guide who's actually
well,
explaining all the
no,
culture.
well, no, you're doing it the way the locals do it. That's
Oh,
where you're
that's
getting the
true.
culture.
You, yeah, I guess, yeah. You're immersing yourself more in it. Yeah. I was just saying for like informational wise, for like interesting
I
facts.
can ask ChatGPT about the. I don't need like a museum plaque, a talking museum plaque, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
ChatGPT.
like just some guy that's just like there showing you around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then yeah, it was like yeah, if it's cheaper, always go for that option regardless. I mean,
Mm,
that's crazy. So have you gone motorcycling around the area yet?
no, no. As much as I would like, I like the idea of it. I haven't jumped off the deep end to take that kind of risk because they drive like they're crazy. They are crazy out here.
Yeah,
They
so you
like
got to worry about that too.
they
Like everybody.
don't respect laws the same way. It's not as
Yeah.
bad here. There's much more order here in Buenos Aires. In Colombia, there is no order. In Brazil, there is no order. People do what they want. They, and in Colombia, it's even worse because, well, at least in Medellin, it's a valley, and the only everything is stick shift. They like don't have any automatic vehicles, so I'd have to
Oh,
learn
okay.
how to drive a stick shift motorcycle without even knowing how to drive stick in a car.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could look up a YouTube video and it'll be easy.
Driving stick is not easy. There are some people that literally cannot do it. And
Okay, yeah.
on top of that, you're driving stick in a it's a valley. Like these roads are steep everywhere. It's so steep. So because everyone
Yeah,
drives
that
stick, every time that they come to a stop, your car starts falling backwards. And so I'm like, you gotta know what you're doing, 'cause otherwise you're just gonna keep falling backwards and hit the guy behind you. And they're
yeah, that
also
is really
aggressive.
dangerous.
Like it's pretty crazy how they drive. So I definitely would want to have someone. I think I'd probably hire someone to try to teach me just to make
Yeah,
sure that I'm
that's
not
I was
being
gonna
totally
say
stupid.
that, yeah. Get somebody to show you the ropes, like driving like with him or
But
riding with him, and then you'll
you're
learn
not,
how to
you're not
actually go about it.
probably. I feel like I'd probably feel okay driving in Argentina.
Like,
They're a lot more. They follow rules here. They have traffic rules here.
yeah, compared
There
to
are no
like
traffic.
everywhere, Colombia and Brazil. But it's like, why do you think that is? Is that just how it is, right? Or
I don't
like,
know. I don't know. Stronger police force, less crime. I don't know.
I heard there was a lot of protests going on in Argentina. Have you heard about anything like that?
I don't know. I haven't seen it lately. The political situation they have here right now is like is pretty intense because their economy is in the shitter. Like
Oh, okay.
a lot of people are not happy. Just I don't know if you know their economic situation, but this is their economic situation. So imagine that in 5 years, your every $100 that you have is now worth $1.
Okay, yeah, that would kind of suck.
And then in another 5 years, every dollar you have, every $100 you have is no longer worth $1. Now it is worth a penny. That is essentially Argentina.
Okay,
Like
so then that makes
if you look
sense.
at the,
But
you can Google like their currency and look at the graph, and it's wild. Like
why?
20 years ago, in the early 2000s, the exchange rate from the Argentine peso to the USD was like two or three. Go back even further, it was 1 to 1. Argentina used to be one of the most wealthy countries in the world not too long ago. Um,
But what
so
happened?
uh, I don't know all that much. Government corruption probably was most of it. I mean, they
Okay,
printed a shit ton of money essentially. That's how generally how inflation
inflation.
happened.
Yeah, right,
Um,
right.
so if we went from like 20 something years ago, almost equal to the US dollar, and now the exchange rate is 1,000 Argentine pesos for every $1.
Wow. Okay.
Like Argentines
So,
here, they don't even want their own currency. They if they can, they will try to like hoard US dollars just because they believe it's going to actually hold its value, whereas their peso could be worthless in a month. And right now, I looked up the current president Um, and so recently they elected a, a far right libertarian economist. This is the president. He's a very eccentric guy, very aggressive, very anti-establishment. The first thing he did was he like fired like probably like most of the government and got rid of the majority of policies. And they announced that they are going to devalue the currency by 54% over the next coming months as part of what
Wow.
he's calling economic shock therapy.
So
Um,
he's just trying to decrease the value of it even further?
Kind of. The reason for that is because the government prior to him had been using like a lot of artificial tools to try to control inflation through like import taxes, like tariffs. I don't know all the things they did, but they were basically using government policies to try to curb inflation. Uh, to
Okay.
give you kind of a picture of what this looks like, so there's actually the exchange rate for the Argentine peso is actually it's in a flux a lot, and there's actually like four different exchange rates for it. There's the official government rate, there's a black market rate called the blue dollar rate, and then there is certain banks have their own rates, and like the bank rates right now are a third of what the black market rate is, and the government rate is about 80% of what the black market rate is.
Okay, so then what is the black market rate and how do you like can you explain each
The
more a little bit better or more?
the black market rate is like it's the highest. It's like 1,000 pesos to $1 right now. That's basically the rate that you would get from Western Union. A lot of people use Western Union out here. It's very big. I actually have to
Oh,
start using
that's a
it.
bank. Okay.
Um, and it's not a bank; it's a money transfer service.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay.
Argentina very much has a cash economy, so people go to Western Union to pick up like hard cash because ATMs won't have enough, and ATMs also have insane fees and bank rates. Like the bank rate is like 300 pesos per dollar. Um, and then there's actually a street in Buenos Aires where it's literally just a bunch of like they call them cambios. It's basically a black market to just exchange cash USD for pesos.
So these black market like areas exchange rate, why is it considered like black market to do that? Is that just because like why do they even
Because
call it that to begin with?
it's not the official government rate. The official government rate is the reason why he's devaluing the currency. He's not really devaluing it. He's just allowing it to reach what it's actually worth in a free market without the government controls that have been trying
Gotcha.
to stop the
What it should
inflation.
be without the inflation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and you can see that they're government. That's why there's a government rate, and
So
then there's a black market rate, which is a little bit closer to what it's actually worth.
okay. So the black market value rate is a lot
Yeah,
like that's
yeah,
not what
yeah.
like
But
like
it's still a very hard time because if your currency is being devalued in this way, like those measures to try to curb the inflation, they were benefiting certain people, especially people in poverty, and especially because a lot of the government programs that he's gotten rid of were things that that gave people certain social benefits, like subsidizing like transportation.
okay. So what is that? What do you mean by that? Like subsidizing transportation?
Like it was the government just subsidized the public transportation system so that people could afford it.
Oh, it just made it like more affordable for everybody, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, it's mostly there's a subway, but I think there's a subway. I haven't seen it yet. But it's mostly a bus system here, and buses have drivers and upkeep and maintenance needs to be done, so they got to pay for that, and the government just kind of pitches in and pays for it,
Gotcha. Okay.
or at least they were.
So a lot more people are gonna. Have you like you don't want to keep you yourself? Do you have any pesos? You're like
I have
keeping
very
track
few.
of?
I have
But you
like
still have some?
I only have like 8,000, so it's like $8 worth. Because
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
I tried to take out a bunch from an ATM at the airport before I knew about all the differences in the rates. I actually got a very good exchange rate at that ATM at the airport. Uh,
Well, was it just because it was at the airport?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
They they introduced like a new policy to try to um, give you a better exchange rate on credit cards and debit cards. That would be closer to the blue dollar rate. So I've been getting that. So I guess it worked. The ATM gave me my bank's exchange rate and not their bank's exchange rate. So it worked out that way. But the ATMs don't have any money in them. The max I was able to take out was only like 20,000
That's still so much. Oh, $20,000 or
pesos. Yeah.
peso. Oh,
So
that's nothing then. Yeah.
it
That's only
is the equivalent of
$20.
20 bucks. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
So
nothing. Wow.
it's ridiculous. Like imagine trying the max, the highest bill that they have is just 1,000. So it's $1. So if you want to
Yeah.
get $100, you're gonna have a stack of 100 bills.
Yeah, at that point it's just not you, and you're just carrying that cash around too, so it's
Yeah,
like someone's just gonna rob
it's
you if you at
ridiculous.
that point.
It's ridiculous. But traveling here makes you realize, like, holy shit, this economy is in the shitter. Like,
So why
when you're holding
are
like hundreds of bills in your hands, like you know that this fucked.
so then why are the laws so much better in Argentina than Brazil or Colombia?
Culture, maybe? I don't know. I think
Oh yeah, okay.
a lot of it's culture.
Yeah.
I don't know. But maybe some of it's just it. Yeah, I don't know. The people seem to respect laws here more.
Well, that's good at least. So I
Yeah,
mean,
In Colombia, they don't give a fuck. Laws are a suggestion.
yeah. Yeah, that's so where's Buenos Aires in terms of like Argentina? Is it like more north or is it like
Uh, yeah, I think so. I don't actually know.
cuz like I'm just trying to picture
I think it's
like
kind
where
of
you are right now cuz like
yeah.
you're like kind of close to like almost Antarctica at this point.
I don't know.
No, you're probably on the northern part then. That point.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm in the. It's kind of the middle. It's by the coast.
Have you oh yeah, what is the wildest animal you've seen so far on your adventures?
Uh,
Come
I
on,
haven't
you
really
had to have
seen
seen
it.
some.
No, I've not really gone to any zoos or
Well,
anything like
not
that.
like going to zoos, but like you know how like there's squirrels in North America, like something like that.
No, I
Birds?
can't. Uh, oops. I didn't see any special birds.
No no blue macaw from Rio, that movie Rio.
No,
Ah, I guess he went
no,
extinct.
no. The wildest animal I saw was before I left, like right before I left in when I was visiting my friend in Miami. We were we were going to some kind of museum, and then we just saw like a bunch of peacocks. There was like six of them.
Dude, maybe you're in a
Apparently,
simulation right now. How do you know you're actually in Argentina?
apparently peacocks are like an invasive species in Miami.
Really? I heard there was
Yeah,
rattlesnakes or some snakes that were in Florida that were going throughout the entire United States too.
I don't know. I've never. Florida's always had snakes.
Oh, okay. I think it was like a type of snake. I don't know which one it was probably, but I mean that makes sense. There's a lot of invasive species that are just like
Oh, you know what I learned? In Argentina, they have a word called shamusha, and I love that word because it's basically the English equivalent or American equivalent of the word game.
Shamusha.
Yeah. Like if you have shamusha, you have game.
Okay, this is in Argentina.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, is that Spanish or where's?
yeah. They're Spanish.
Okay,
There's
yeah, yeah.
very little English speaking here.
Right, right. That's funny. So I heard there was the Falkland Islands have like half of the Falkland Islands are British, and that's the other half is Argentine. So have you?
Well, the
Yeah,
what?
they're called the Falkland Islands.
How does it spell?
Falk,
FALK.
Falkland, and then islands. I mean, yeah, there's probably not a lot of stuff for you to visit there, I guess. But I was just saying that because they're English speakers
Huh.
on on the other side of the Falkland Islands because there's two different parts. One is yeah, but it's kind of like a British like little area, like so it's kind of like you get like the
Interesting.
it's like going to England but in South America.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, if you wanted to go to like a really like English speaking country in South America, where would you go? I mean, all of them you've met like a lot of English speakers already, but if there was
Uh,
like what?
Brazil. Brazil.
Brazil? Okay, yeah. So like yeah, you so far you've seen a lot more English speakers in Brazil rather than Colombia and uh
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Argentina.
In Brazil, it's only going to be the middle and upper class, or really the upper class. Like if I go to like a very nice like bar or restaurant, like there'll be English speakers there.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, but most working class, like if you're just trying to like go to the store, or like they're not gonna speak English. Security guards won't speak English.
I mean, yeah, cuz everybody in Brazil speaks Portuguese, right?
Mhm.
Or is it like
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But it's like I guess just because there's like that mix of like surrounded
Basically,
by Spanish speaking countries.
basically, if someone's like college educated, they're gonna speak English.
Okay. Because it's just like a language that's popping right now, I guess, right? Like a lot of businesses have to speak English.
Yeah, it's
People
just
in
anywhere in the world.
businesses, yeah. So you've been to three countries so far. Oh yeah, now I'm seeing where Buenos Aires is,
Technically
and it's
four.
on what?
I've technically been in four. I had a
Counting the United
layover.
States.
No, I had a
Oh.
layover in Panama.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, and Panama is pretty small too, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, isn't that's or no, that's the
They're not
Darien
that
Gap.
small. So,
Is
Panama is
The Darien Gap is located in Panama, right? Or is that another country?
Darien Gap. I don't know. They have the Panama Canal.
So the Darien Gap is a heavily dense forest, and that stops a lot of people from. Well, the only reason I really know it is because I was wondering, like, could you drive from Alaska to South America? And the Darien Gap is just such a big foresty area that, like jungle, that nobody can travel it. So the reason they don't want to actually do that is because, well, people like other countries above the Darien Gap don't want more people coming in. So it's like the same reason why like people get upset when people from Mexico come to the United States like that.
Mm.
But I mean, that would just be kind of cool if we made like a gigantic, like if we connected both Americas. I mean, you could drive that far, and then all of a sudden, you get like a road connecting Alaska to Russia, and you have there's a bunch of other like I saw like the longest route that could possibly happen, and it ends up in like Africa, but then Africa has a lot more issues. But yeah, there's just like that would be cool to have that. But yeah, let me see where the actual Darien Gap is located.
Yeah, I'm Googling right now. It's in Panama.
It is in Panama.
There,
Okay, yeah.
there is no road, not even a primitive one.
Yeah, exactly, because they don't want people crossing. Yeah. So, but there are a lot of people that are trying to do it at least.
Yeah, I just
So,
totally drove by the US. I think the reason for it has nothing to do with wanting to keep out immigrants. It has to do with the US wanting to keep control of Panama.
Wanting to
because
keep what? Oh,
the U.S.
control
wants
of
to,
Panama.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because the U.S. basically drove the separation of Panama from Colombia.
Right, right. So that's like that is also okay. That makes sense why they would want to keep that then. So,
Yeah,
all right,
but like
yeah.
Panama doesn't have its own currency. It's well, they do, but it's based off of the U.S. dollar.
And then Argentina is trying to use the U.S. dollar too, right?
I think so. I mean, a lot of people are, and I think the
So,
president has made mentions of just getting rid of their currency entirely. But I don't know if he's gonna actually do that.
oh wow, okay. I'm surprised, despite all the like, yeah, the
Yeah, I mean,
inflation. Just
if you want to be like a competitive sovereign country, I have no idea why you would want to just evaporate your currency in lieu of another country's currency.
well, I mean, what's so bad about all the world sharing one currency? Because, but I mean, then I guess yeah, like what if that country then causes inflation?
Yeah, I
Then
don't think there's anything wrong with the world sharing one currency. I think there's a problem with one government having control over inflation.
yeah, but it's like you got to trust that government, and it's like yeah, when
No,
you
yeah, they got enough
yeah,
money.
if the
Like
economy's not doing
Bitcoin.
good for you, yeah,
Like Bitcoin would be great if everyone just used that because the government can't really print money.
right.
Well, they can't print Bitcoin. They wanted to make
But
money, they'd have to actually convince us to give them taxes.
there's always going to be. So why do so many countries like always try to do in inflation? Just because they have debt, but it's like how do they get in debt in the first place, and then why does every country eventually have to get in debt? Because it's like is
I'm
that just like
I'm no
economist?
economist,
Yeah,
but I'm biased towards thinking it's all just corruption, really, because you don't have to print money ever. There's no reason to ever have to print money because the alternative is just taxing your citizens. But the problem with taxing your citizens is then they actually see how much money they're losing, and then they get angry, and then you actually
yeah.
have to convince them that they need this money for the policies. So
So
it's
they're like
easier.
taxing people anyway. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like a
it's
different way to
easier.
do it.
It's actually, exactly. In printing money is just a way of taxing people in a way that they can't see and get angry about.
Right, right. And that's why we can't normally keep all of our money in one place because over time eventually it will decrease. So that's why your money can't be stagnant if it's not in like a bank. If it's not accruing like getting like more interest and you're getting money over time.
Yeah, interest isn't really outpaces inflation,
Yeah, I guess you
especially
just
in
yeah, you got to
like
find like the right.
if your money's only growing by like 10% per year on average, it's pretty terrible.
So then what would you need it to increase by to make it worth it?
I
Cuz I
don't
don't
know.
even
I
know any.
mean, it really depends on 10% per year shouldn't be that bad. It just is like lately, like these past few years. We've
Oh,
had a
okay.
lot
Yeah.
of inflation. We've had a shit ton of inflation in the past 5 years.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
the whole world really has because of COVID. But like, if the U.S. ever came into the economic state that freaking Argentina is in right now, like it don't matter how much money you had in your 401k, like your money's just evaporated at that point.
So, back on to traveling. What other countries in South America, because you said you wanted to go back to South America, but would it be the same countries or different countries?
I think
Because you
so.
still.
Yeah.
What about Chile?
I don't know. I'm within the Chile too much.
I'm gonna like because
I
there's a
really
lot of
I like Buenos Aires. I think I don't think I would do Brazil again, honestly.
how come?
It felt kind of like a shithole.
Even though
which
you
is
said there were
ironic.
parts that were like more as expensive as the United States.
The most of it was as expensive as the United States. It was a very expensive place. It's probably why so many there's so many poor people and like and why it's so dangerous and there's so many homeless because it's just their economy's screwed. Like it's I don't know. I didn't care for it that much. I thought it was kind of overhyped. It's a very like I don't know. It's a huge country. I've only seen Rio. I'll say that. Rio is
Yeah,
really
that's true.
beautiful.
Yeah, you got to visit like other parts, but then I know like a lot of it is also the Amazon rainforest, but there's still like a lot of different parts specifically because
Yeah.
that country's so big.
Yeah.
Um,
But Rio wasn't really my cup of tea because it for a city of like millions of people, it felt like there wasn't a lot of nightlife that I actually would have wanted to go to. There was one area which I didn't even bother going to because I knew how dangerous it was by its reputation, and
oh, okay.
from some of the other travelers I was like hanging out with, like they were saying like, yeah, don't even bother. This is just a shithole. And I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah. But in terms of like I guess I was looking for more of like a crowd that was going to be uh English speaking, college educated, that kind of deal. And I
I
really
guess
only
yeah.
found one place like that. Exactly one. And it was really expensive to get it. And it was honestly kind of shithole. Like I would compare it to Dublin Deck in terms of like their setup. Like
Oh
it didn't
wow.
really it wasn't a luxurious place at all. It kind of felt like a shithole, but it was really expensive to get in. Like I
Okay.
paid the cover charge was usually like anywhere from $30 to $70 a night.
So is
Just
that
cover.
like so you're saying like is that like the nightlife is better in Argentina and Colombia?
Oh yeah, so much better. Astronomically
Okay.
better. It's not even
Because
close.
what you were saying was like college educated, like speaking like English.
Yeah,
You said
they're
English
not
speaking.
in Brazil. The college educated are English speaking. In Argentina and Colombia, they're not. Or some of them are, but it's not. In Brazil, like almost all of like the educated class is going to be English speaking. In Argentina and Colombia, not so. It's still
But then
pretty
it's like
like
that contradicts what you were saying about how like you wanted to visit because of like that specific area though. But you wouldn't visit Brazil again, but you would Colombia and Argentina.
yeah, yeah. Like just
Okay,
because
yeah.
the nightlife here is just like a lot more developed. Like I went to a club and
Okay.
it felt like I went to a club and it felt like it was better than like a Vegas like club, like mega club. Like it was they're just very nice. In
Yeah.
Colombia they were not that nice, but they were all right.
Would
And the
you
people were
visit
really fun.
Uruguay?
I don't have so much of a desire to, just because I've heard that it's kind of boring. Like
Oh. Well, it's so
honestly,
close to you right now.
the only reasons I've heard of people going there is for like they'll say it's for the beach, but there's so many other places with better beaches.
Oh, okay.
The only other reason I've heard people go there is for the women, being real. Like
So,
I think there's even some kind of some rapper that wrote about that in some song he made. I forget which one. Some famous rapper wrote about
oh,
Uruguay,
okay.
like being like his holiday destination to get to pick up chicks.
So then, what about Paraguay?
No idea, bro.
You have yeah. All right. Any other South American countries you researched before you decided to like
No,
venture?
no. I
No,
have researched
really?
this. I kind of just knew, like
Yeah.
I knew all the expat places, all the fun places and just went to those places. No one really talks about
Gotcha.
Iraq
Okay.
West. Wow, I'm not gonna go.
I haven't heard any buzz there, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't want to be like. You ever watch Madagascar?
Yeah, which one? Third one's my favorite. The circus.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it was in, but there's this. I think it was the first one. You know how all the penguins are like, we need to escape the zoo. We need to get back to Antarctica or the Arctic, right?
Yeah.
And they hijack like a boat and they get to Antarctica and they step
I.
off the boat. They step off the boat and it's just this cold rush of wind and snow. And they just sit there and they pause and they look at each other and they're like, well, this sucks. And then they leave. That's basically what I'm trying to avoid. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
go
I would
to
still.
what it's all about.
I
Well, this
feel like
sucks.
if I travel somewhere, I'm gonna try to make the best out of it I can. You know, if it's just like a really boring atmosphere, then it's like, well, at least I traveled. You know, at least there's other stuff.
Hmm.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. Those were like, what? The penguins were just from like, what type of penguins were they though? That's the real question. There's a lot of different like, cause there's penguins by you right now, right? I'm pretty sure. Oh, like Chile
Still
has a
pretty
lot
low.
more penguins. Yeah, but then it's like there's
Are you
penguins all around the coast of Chile.
are there?
Yeah, you could look it up. But it's
You're
like
kidding me. Wait, where?
they're like
Pink?
tropical penguins. That's why Surf's Up was a movie because there's
What?
tropical penguins. There's also
Interesting.
some islands. I want to say Madagascar does have some penguins too, and that's probably why this whole zoo thing was like, I guess, based on that. And that
The
makes sense.
Galapagos, the Galapagos penguins are the only species of penguins which can be found in the northern hemisphere. They
Wow,
survive
I
from
didn't
the
even know they
warm,
were in the northern hemisphere.
tropical
That's
penguins. They're in the
that's kind of
hemisphere.
wild. Yeah, there was this other penguin, but it wasn't called the penguin. It was called like some other name that lived in the northern hemisphere, but it was extinct because it humans hunted them all. And it was completely a completely different evolutionary like scale from penguins, but they looked exactly the same. It had a lot of the same features. So that's why,
Australian penguins.
yeah,
What?
maybe that's where Surf's Up. I think actually
Yeah,
is
yeah.
a
There are penguins along Chile. Yeah, whole west
yeah.
coast of South. Not a lot though. It doesn't look like it's a lot.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Penguins
Like
are awesome.
I'm blanking on those mountains. What the Andes Mountains blocks them, like something like
Uh,
that.
I
But
don't
yeah,
know where the penguins actually are, or how long they stretch.
I mean, that's
But yeah,
the movie I saw like a while ago with the what is it called? It's the no, I'm blanking on it. But the plane crashes in the mountains. That's the mountain range where that happened, and then they had it was like a group of rugby football players, and they had to. It was, but they were flying from like Argentina to Chile, and so that's why it was like. I guess it's just a huge, it's a gigantic mountain range. If you submerge the entire world in water, like to the brim, the Andes is going to be like one of the last that will still be peeking through. I mean, you got like a bunch of other like mountain ranges, obviously, like the
mhm.
Himalayas. I think the North America. I don't know about what is it the mountain range that's on the west coast. I can't think of that. I'm blanking on that one.
I have no idea. I have no idea what that would be.
Yeah, but hey, we just gotta travel and then we'll figure it out.